Hi, Sheena the Henna Queen here. So I'm going to do another short video really quickly on a question that I got that I thought was really good. The question was, can you dye over your henna hair with chemical dye? Okay, so there's always an exception to every rule, but the disclaimer is, once you use henna on your hair, you cannot try and get it out, because henna is going to stick to the follicles of your hair because it's a plant. It's not like chemical dyes where you can just continue to dye over it. But what the good thing is you can dye your hair with henna as much as you want. So if the first application of henna, you don't really like it, it's too light or it's too dark or whatever, well, you can also use different colors of henna, different combinations of things to get different colors using henna. So that's the really great thing. And that is also why I love using Henna Maiden or Henna King, because they already have pre-mixed the colors for you. They have it perfectly. They know exactly how much indigo and how much of this and how much of that to use to get the perfect color that you want. So that is one reason why I say I really love that, because then it takes the mess of you having to mix the colors and trying to figure out what it is that you want. Also, always make sure that you do a strand test on your hair, because henna is permanent, permanent, permanent. You cannot get it out. With that being said, there is an exception to every single rule. So I actually used a chemical dye over my henna hair. I did. So when I first started dyeing my hair with henna, I still had a box of red chemical dye that I had in the closet, and I didn't want it to go to waste because I love the red color. So I decided to go ahead and use it once my hair oxidized, and I went ahead and used it. In my case, it was red and red. My henna hair was already red, and the dye was already red. So with doing that, it was such a similar color that when the highlights showed through of my henna, it really didn't make a difference. But what's going to happen if you use chemical dye is, well, first of all, you can never go lighter with henna. You're always going to have to go darker, because henna has that darker look to it. So you can't dye it lighter. You'd have to go darker with the colors. But if you get a similar color in a chemical dye, what's going to happen is it's just your natural or your henna hair is actually going to show through kind of like highlights. So if you have brown hair and you hennaed it with red, you're going to have those red highlights coming out underneath the chemical dye. It is not recommended that you chemical dye your hair with henna, just because there's so many things that can go wrong with that. But like I said, there is an exception to every rule, and in my case, because I was dyeing my hair pretty much the same color, it didn't really make a big difference. But I think if you're like, using henna and you're gonna try and dye it with black or something, it's probably gonna get like a really funky look to it. It's not gonna look very good. So that's just my personal opinion, and also what's happened to me and my use of henna and chemical dyes. However, after I used the chemical dye, of course, I never went back, because my hair started falling out again, and I just hated the feeling of it, and it reminded me of why I wanted to start using henna in the first place. So like I said in the last video, stay tuned, because I will be doing another video the next couple of weeks on a new hair color, and I'm very excited about that, using henna. So if you have any more questions, please post them below. I would be happy to answer them for you. Okay, keep henna in, guys.